Actually, before coming here, I studied a bit about my company. So my company is a typical mid-sized German company. Now we belong to the Japanese group. And I found the interesting kind of dynamics. Like my company, we have the common HR kind of policy globally. And in Germany and in Thailand, we have several women engineers who are in the leading positions in the organization. And I was quite surprised, actually, this time I discovered we don't have any female engineers in our organization in Japan. Yeah? So although we are under the same company's policy, HR policy, and whoever applies, we centrally coordinate this within Germany. So when we have the good applicants in Japan, we would obviously hire. But in Japan, not so many females apply for the open positions. You know? So actually, yes, the company side, we have lots of space for improvement. I'm pretty sure about it. But at the same time, regional impact is not so small. In Germany, I see lots of Japanese ladies who are in the leading positions. For example, the general consul in Hamburg and in Düsseldorf, they're both female Japanese diplomats. So those people are getting into the leading positions, and I think Japanese society starts to accept the female people to get into the leading positions. So if there is a willingness from the female side as well, we still need lots of changes, but I have the feeling perhaps some females in Japan still do not find the joy to go for the engineering sector as I was before. And how I found engineering position or project is interesting, I had no interest for the engineering part before. But when people are talking about, at Mitsubishi, it was interesting. Mitsubishi is a very traditional Japanese company, but there were some female engineers as well. And they were always excited to talk about it as if, when they talk about the movies, they were excited. And they were also excited to talk about engineering matters. And through these kind of discussions, I started to enjoy. Yeah? They were drinking beer, red wine, and they were talking about engineering project. I think this kind of joy, when we can find, engineering is tremendously interesting one, but there are so many opportunities to experience this. So I think one thing as a company, what we can do could be like the people who are not even going up to the universities, but at the gymnasium or the middle school, high school, if they have the opportunities to explore themselves for the engineering stuff and enjoy a bit of this kind of discovery or enjoyment of this kind of not new, but engineering sector, I think that this will trigger the ladies to have more interest. And at the same time, the company side and the regional side, we can give a bit more, improve the situation to open the doors more. I think that could be the good way. I think the important thing, personally, I talk about myself, I think philosophy is quite important. What is your target? So, like when I was young, I read a book written by Max Weber, yeah? And capitalism is coming from the idea associated with Protestant ideas, so Calvin's ideas. So when we add the value in the society, so for example, manufacturing, engineering is a prime example. We put the value to the things, and when we do these things well in our current life, it's highly likely we can go to the heaven. I just try to simplify the situation. But what kind of value we are adding to the society, what kind of things we are leaving for the next generation. If you are in the finance sector, if you're just moving the money from right to left, it's not adding the value to the society. But if you give the money or lend the money for something tangible or something beneficial in the society, then it's meaningful. Yeah? And I think engineering sector is quite straightforward. Most of the cases is impacting the society. And I think the argument what we are saying here is that we have more representation in the engineering sector from the females' perspectives in Japan and in Germany. I even didn't understand the meaning of Guten Tag, and I was horrified, yeah? And for the first 5 months, I always wanted to go back to Japan. I was the only Japanese, and the German kids were staring at me in front of the station. I was thinking, the monster is waiting somewhere. Actually, it was me, yeah, because I was so unique. But I enjoyed a lot, because I wanted to not prove myself, but test myself how far I can swim in the kind of different environment. In Japan, I went to the good university. I was working for Mitsubishi. I had a basis. Yeah? And when I went to Germany, my educational background was simply the university in Japan. They didn't care what I studied. But I felt I could go through the new path, going through something new. You know? And I think that females, engineers, in Germany and in Japan probably have the similar situation. You need to explore, and I'm not saying that only the female engineers need to take the burden. We also, as the males, in the privileged position. But if you're not in the privileged position, you need to think a lot. In Germany, as Japanese who wanted to climb up the ladder in the corporate organization, I thought a lot about this topic, because I was not, I can use the past sense, I was not in the privileged position. But I think the German society gave me the opportunity to grow in the organization, in the society. I was given the fair opportunity. This is a key word. Of the conservative society. So in order to make the changes and to give the fair opportunities, you mentioned it's better not to use a quota. This sounds negative, but the guideline or the indication how much we encourage. For example, lots of companies in Japan, they have almost no board member, female board members. Give them the guidance when you're stock listed for like in stock exchange, whatever. I think we start to get this kind of guidance. There are only two things in our world: the things we can change and the things we can't change. And just forget about the things we can't change. But all the topics we're discussing today are the things we can change. So when we are courageous enough to face the challenges and try to change the things together, I think we have the way to move forward.